guys, Pat here from Rain Country. God was good all the time. Well, the other day, the little car wouldn't start, the little 1968 Volkswagen Beetle, and it ended up being the fuel pump. Well, it seemed like it ran pretty good for a while, but after a little bit it started to not run so good. I went ahead and at the same time I purchased the fuel pump, I went ahead and bought a new carburetor just in case I had trouble with the carburetor, and of course I did. So this carburetor that I purchased had good reviews, and of course it's made in China. Seems like everything's made in China anymore. This one here is actually made in Mexico. They all look the same except for this little piece on the bottom. This little piece on the bottom, the one on the car doesn't have that, but I'm going to go ahead and give that a try. It's not a big deal to take that off if I need to. It doesn't run very good with that one on there, so there's a reason for that. I don't know what the reason is. Perhaps you guys can share with us what that is in the comments. But so anyway, the review said that they just put this thing on their car and they didn't have to do any adjustments. So I thought, well, if the car's running rough, what do I have to lose? And it's not that difficult to change these out. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first thing I have to do, of course, I removed that little piece of conduit there. Obviously, we'll have to take off the air cleaner. And because it's a oil bath air cleaner, you always want to keep it in a vertical position like this. So I got a quarter inch nut driver to take off the gas inlet. I'll store that in the vertical position up out of the way so it don't bleed everywhere. And we have a connection on the side. We got this electrical connection. We got this connection right here, and then this connection right here, and then this connection that goes into the side of the carburetor right there. Remove that. And let's see, I got a linkage here that I'll have to take off. That is going to be probably an 8mm or something like that. Okay, I'll need to take this and save this. That's going to go on the new one. So again, that was an 8mm to take off the nut for the linkage on the throttle. Here I have a 1/2-inch wrench. This is too small, but the other end works fine. So we'll pop this off. Distributor cap here. Pull that out of the way. And we'll do likewise with the rotor. Keep things from falling into the distributor. I'll cover that with a little piece of plastic. Keep the gasoline and all that good stuff, fun stuff out of there. I'm going to find a short wrench to get in there. That's going to be around the 1/2-inch size. And maybe cutting loose the battery leads is probably not a bad idea when you're doing something like this. Ignition's off, so I wasn't too concerned about getting spark back here. Don't forget our little washer. That's got a bend to it, so it's not just any ordinary washer. We'll set it aside. And at some point I might just go ahead and take that apart and clean it up and see what is the matter with it. I'm sure you can get a rebuild kit for these things. got to come off of there. It says a whole bunch of extra little ports on it. Well, hopefully it'll work. If not, I'll have to be taking that other one apart and fixing it, huh? Give you some studs. And the gasket, thank goodness. Set that aside. Run these guys inside where they're supposed to go. I'm going to try that extension on there just for fun. I'm not a big fan of using old gaskets, but that actually isn't an old gasket. The guy that I had looking at this car put a new gasket on there. So I am going to go with that for now. There's no abrasions. Not peeling up anywhere. Like I say, I really don't know why that extra little piece is on there, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. Worst thing that can happen is it could blow up, right? I'm going to kind of thread things through here while I got the chance. And I would actually like to put all original parts on here. You know, if I can find a good carburetor and a good fuel pump and different things, it'd be kind of neat to bring it back to the original equipment that was on here. However, I would rather have it run good than try to fight something that's old and not working properly. Actually, maybe the reason why that other carburetor isn't working very good is because of the gasket. We're going to find out. If it runs the same, maybe that gasket's bad, huh? Okay, I'm going to pull that just to where it just has all the slack out of it. And then I'm going to tighten this guy up. I'll start from there, see how it runs. Holding up on this little bar here at the end of the cable as I'm turning that. Because I wouldn't like running down the road and having that thing kind of slip out of place on me. Okay, so that's all tight. Tighten this up. Okay. Usually I like to wiggle these a little bit. While I'm doing that, it gets a little more of a bite on there. Of course, you can't overstrip these, right? Okay. Separate those guys a little bit. All I have to do now is put my distributor back on there after I put the rotor back on. Thanks for reminding me. I'm going to fire it off without the air cleaner, just in case I need to put a little extra fuel in there just to get the float bowl full. But I think it'll crank over, and I'll give it a try. So I take the top off of this, and lo and behold, look at the gasket. See the gasket right here? That doesn't look too bad in there, but that could use a little bit of a cleaning. But I am pretty sure if I replace that gasket, this little carburetor will probably run just fine. So I'll put all that back together again and save that for another day. Broken here, So they reuse this gasket, and this is probably a gasket that I would not try to reuse just because it's so thin, and it's thin around here. Matter of fact, they put silicone or something in here to try to solve that problem, but of course it didn't solve it. But I got charged $450 for them to take care of me down there, but well, the rest of my case. It's the ways of the world today, huh? Yeah, the car seemed to be idling fine with this other gasket on there, but every now and then it would just kind of cough and choke and want to quit. Not only the fuel pump is bad, I don't know what the deal is with that, but also the carburetor was bad. So I'm glad I got that backup carburetor. Now we're back in service, but I'll see if I can find a rebuild kit for these. I'm sure that they're readily available. Stick that on there so I don't get anything nefarious in there. I don't want to put that on there super duper tight. That gasket's got to come off of there. Huh, well that was easy to spot that mess. Okay, we'll put all this back in this box. So there we go for that. Stick it back in this cute little bag. At least I'll have a new gasket if I need it. This one seems to be working good. Yeah, the thinner gaskets, yeah, you're just asking for trouble if you're trying to replace or not replace those. The thing about it is, this is easy enough. It's not like an internal engine part. It's easy enough to replace that or pull that off of there and put another gasket on there if it wasn't running good. And that needs to be rebuilt. Have to mark that box accordingly. So 10 years down the road, I say, well, I got a carburetor here. I'll need to go ahead and get a replacement gasket kit or rebuild kit for that guy. So yeah, I'll just have to get a rebuild kit for that, repair it. I'm gonna get out of the rain now and go take this thing for a ride and see how it runs. Hope you might have got something out of this. If it's running rough, well, check to see if the last guy that worked on it didn't use some odd parts on it. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Take care and God bless.